What's up, everybody? My name is Chris Connor here, checking in, and I will be your host today for the MMH NBA season preview. This is my first audio, my first recording, my first contribution to Music, Movies, and Hoops here, man. So I'm really excited to be a part of the brand here. We have some lovely guests, and it should be a good show as we talk about the NBA season as it jumps off tomorrow on the 22nd. So from here, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce you all to our guests, and they can tell you a little bit about themselves. First, we got my man Chris Dodson. What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good, man. Loving the weather up here. Hope you staying warm up there in Chicago.
Oh, he's a jerk. He knew what he was doing with that. All right. Next,
Yeah, I did.
next we have Joshua Montenko coming out of Oregon. What's up, man?
What's happening, y'all? I'm originally from Boston. I'm claiming the Celtics as my squad, so this Oregon thing, don't get it twisted here. All right, I just live here now, I work here now, but I'm Celtics in Boston all the way.
Automatically assume you're a Blazers fan. Got it. Fair. All right. Next, we have the wonderful guy that brought all of this together, straight out of Texas right now. Is that correct? Sasha Klare-Ayvazian. Did I say it right?
Pretty close, yeah, man.
What's up, man?
Great to be here. So happy to have you with us, Chris, and thank you for hosting tonight.
Nah, man, anytime, man. This is actually my first time hosting something in a while, so I'm pretty excited to get things going. And yeah, man, let's get it rocking. So tomorrow, of course, we have a nice, but I believe it's a three game slate night. But either way, I mean, it should be fun to have some real games that matter pop off. First thing I want to talk about here from the preseason slate that we had, it was some notable things that that ended up going down. Some wonderful highlight plays, some good performances. I'll start with you, Dotson. I know what city you cover for, but outside of my wonderful stomping grounds in New Orleans, what was your biggest takeaway from the preseason slate and the NBA across the board?
Really, the biggest takeaway is they didn't have to cancel a game. We didn't have any COVID-related issues, and I mean that's really the biggest thing. That's gonna cover the whole season until we can all get vaccinated or we can find the end of this pandemic. That's my biggest takeaways. There was no games canceled. They had all the players come in, and they had some positives, but they quarantined. They did the right thing, except for maybe James Harden, who was out there on Instagram partying. But for the most part, the league handled their business, and that to me is the biggest takeaway. Is the players, they took it serious. They saw what was in the bubble, and now they see that if we want to play in our home, around our friends, around the family, we gotta take this seriously. We gotta really be safe. We gotta make that money. It's already 72 games. They can't cancel anymore. So that's my biggest takeaway.
Okay, now Sasha, Dotson mentioned James Harden, so it's only right that we segue to Texas. What about you, man? What's the biggest takeaway for you down there in Texas?
I'm outside of Houston right now. I'm in Galveston, Texas, so this is apropos. Yeah, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop when it comes to Harden. I really like the Westbrook trade. I'm actually kind of high on the Wizards. They're not necessarily a team I was going to dive super far into, but I think they're a playoff team. I feel good about them. I like the role players. I like the backcourt, of course. I think James Harden's going to get traded. I hear the Celtics are involved. I'd love to hear what Josh thinks about that, if he's ready to let go of Jaylen Brown. I hear the Toronto Raptors are involved. I think that's interesting. So it's crazy because we're starting the season tomorrow, but James Harden is so elite that he's going to change the entire landscape of the league when he gets traded. So we're kind of sitting on this gigantic possibility here. So it's a little crazy to know what's going to happen.
Fair enough. Josh, what about you, man? What's your biggest takeaway from these our nice little preseason action?
Yeah, this was an interesting one because I think you got a lot of teams who are looking at, like they always do in the preseason, the rookies, the second round draft picks, the guys from last year, the rookies from last year, to see if they've kind of taken a little bit of a leap, right? But we had such short a period of time before this all got started again that, there's not much of a leap anyone really could have taken, unless you're looking at the bottom feeder teams who were not in the bubble. So it's almost like it's most exciting for those teams to finally get back after it. Everybody's got fresh legs. Nobody's really injured on those teams. And I think that could kind of make for a nice twist with this NBA season. It's not just the teams that we expect to be good coming in and, plus the Nets, who we don't know really about, but and we got the Harden thing waiting to break. But then you got all these young guys on these, bottom feeder teams that are ready to make a statement of their own, I think. And we may be surprised by some of them.
Well, that's actually the perfect segue, because I want to talk about some of those surprising teams, man. We don't know what this season is going to be. I mean, due to COVID, and I mean in sports in general, every year, you have some teams that surprise, and you have some teams that let you down. I've been a Pelicans fan for a long time, so I have seen it all, and I've seen a lot of letdowns. So, but what I wanna ask you guys is, I mean, we can do East Conference. Sasha, we'll start with you. Who do you think will surprise the most out of the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference?
So, guys, I've become a Brooklyn convert.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm falling into the trap. Did anyone watch Kevin Durant this preseason?
yes.
He looked good.
He looked good. So he averaged 20 points in 25 minutes, 50% shooting. Not amazing from three, but he kind of looked like Kevin. And here's maybe a hot take, guys. I'm looking at Brooklyn. I'm kind of ready to say they have the best supporting cast in the NBA. Yeah.
I like that.
I cannot believe Josh was on our offseason preview, and we talked a lot about Spencer Dinwiddie, who we both like, and Joe Harris, two players I was sure were going to get traded. And they're still there. They picked up Landry Shamet. Taurean Prince is a real NBA player. Karras is talking about being the new Manu, which I love out of him. And he's close with KD and Kyrie, so I think they are going to have an understanding about what everyone's role is. Man, if KD is KD, we're talking about arguably the second best player in the NBA, which is crazy. They can go into every series in the Eastern Conference, kind of plausibly say we have the best player if he gets healthier and healthier as the season goes. So I was so skeptical. I know Kyrie's Kyrie. He's light and sage in the Boston Garden. He wants 8 post-ups a game. I don't know if you saw that IG video, but I'm starting to be a big believer in the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. All right. That's the Eastern Conference. What about in the West?
For me?
Yep.
I'm gonna tack on to a team that we already know and love, and that is the Denver Nuggets. I'm really, really feeling like they're real. And I think this is the season we move from the kind of cute, exciting Joker and Murray, Batman, Robin to these guys are real. And I think they're going to be the best team in the NBA besides for the Lakers, at least in the Western Conference. Joker was ridiculous this preseason. He averaged 14, 9, 3 on ridiculous shooting in like 20 minutes. I'd like to bring up a name that's been forgotten, Gary Harris. Shot 48% in the preseason. I think if he can get his shot back, he was 2 for 5 from 3 in the last game.
Sasha bringing the heat with the preseason stats.
Bringing the heat. They lost Jeremy Grant, who I love and drafted in fantasy. But, guys, they got JaMychal Green. And JaMychal Green is a player. JaMychal Green's a backup big I like. Bol, 9 points in 11 minutes in the preseason. Can I get some love for Bol?
No, you cannot until he does it. No. You cannot. No. Not yet. It's not allowed.
So the last thing I'll say is there's kind of this back and forth between who's starting. I'm a huge MPJ guy. I love him. I think he's the future. I also have him as one of my fantasy keepers. But I'm kind of come around to this idea of starting Will Barton and making MPJ the sixth man. In the last preseason game, they did that, and he came off the bench, dropped 20, had 4 threes, balled out. So I kind of like this idea of, like, he should be better than most guys in second units. I think they have a really strong starting 5. I think Will Barton can be a nice two-way guy for them beyond the superstars. I just kind of believe in Denver, and I think that we have to just not look at them as this fun team, but really take them seriously for the next number of years?
Okay. This is not. Since I'm the host, I am not going to respond to this in the way that I normally would because I dislike the Nuggets because I really hate Jamal Murray. I am not a fan. I'm not a fan. And I don't think I'll ever be a fan. The bubble did not fool me. I don't think that will translate. But that's neither here nor there. It's not my show. It's you guys' show. Josh, who's your most surprising team out of the East and the West?
Oh, man. Okay. I really want to talk about this Jamal Murray thing, man. He's his defense is a little suspect.
Don't believe it.
Shot maker.
Don't believe it. I don't.
Did you watch the playoffs, Chris?
I did. I did. I watched it all. I watched it all. And you know what?
You're like, this guy sucks.
No. Listen. He was amazing. But guess what? Gary Trent looked like he was the best 3-point shooter that I had ever seen for a stretch. Okay, I don't think that's going to happen again. Okay, let's see. Lonzo Ball, after having a wonderful stretch in his season, he couldn't hit a shot if his life depended on it. Let's see what else. Who else surprised in the bubble? T.J. Warren dropped 51 and 48 in back-to-back games. It's not happening once the season starts. I don't believe in it. Jamal Murray was great. Fine, but is he a superstar? Is he a guy that's going to average 25 points a game? 20? Is he going to do that this year? I do not believe it. He's probably going to be somewhere between 18 and 20 because that's where he belongs. Because he takes bad shots throughout. He takes a bunch of bad shots throughout the regular season. He will do it again, and people will be surprised, or disappointed. Anyway, Josh,
you brought the haterade to the pod, Chris.
So you're just anti-bubble. That's really what it is. You think that the bubble stats are kind of like preseason stats, and they're not accurate or representative of a full season.
Man, these dudes didn't have sex for 3 months, man. And you telling me that they were on their game? Come on, man.
But they had weed though. They
still do. Weed's legal.
All right. In the East, I have a surprise team making the 8th seed in the playoffs. That was, I think, 14th last year. The Atlanta Hawks. And this is a team I feel like that's a team I've kind of liked on paper for the last couple of years. I like what Travis Schlenk has been doing as the GM and his staff in terms of just getting certain types of guys, getting a lot of length at the wing position, getting athletic rim runners. I think this is the first time since 2017 that they're going to make the playoffs. The last time they were there, it was a whole different team with Al Horford and
Joe Johnson, Kyle Korver, all those guys.
Yeah, and so it's been a 3-year quick turnaround, and now all of a sudden they're rebuilt. They got, starters like Capella and Gallinari and Collins and Bogdanovich and Trae Young, and Rondo can slide in there when they're playing matchups against multiple guards. But their bench is now really deep. They added Chris Dunn for defense. DeAndre Hunter, I think, is going to surprise some people this year. I think he's clearly established himself as the better out of the two of him and Cam Reddish, the 2 draft picks from last year. And I think that he's going to hit the 3 at over 40% this year, which is really going to kind of solidify himself as a reliable guy. And they got my man Red Velvet, the redhead, Kevin Huerter, off the bench.
Red Velvet.
and that's not even, we're not even talking about Onyeka Okongwu, the lottery pick that they got. So I think that they're 11 deep this year. And you haven't been able to say that the Hawks have been really that deep for a long time. So I think that they're going to surprise some people. That's my pick for the 8th seed out of the East to surprise people. And then in the West, I'm sorry, but I don't think your squad, the New Orleans Pelicans, is going to make the playoffs this year. I don't know why the rookie extensions did not apply to Lonzo Ball. Collins didn't get one too with the Hawks, but you guys can explain why that is. My squad out of the West is the Memphis Grizzlies. I think that this is, again, the first time that they're making the playoffs since 2017. Again, a 3-year rebuild from that Zach Randolph, Marc Gasol, Tony Allen, Mike Conley team. But Ja Morant, man, he's the guy this year in the NBA who's going to surprise people. Ja Morant, in my opinion, Ja Morant is like the 3rd iteration of this score first, hyper athletic point guard to have success in the league. And we kind of saw this, 20 years ago, really, with Stephon Marbury and Steve Francis and that kind of and one generation of point guards.
Yeah.
And then we saw that next iteration of Derrick Rose and John Wall, Westbrook. I would throw Kyrie Irving into that group in the last decade. But Ja Morant is different than all of these guys because he's got that ability to score. He's got the quickness. He's got the leaping ability that they all had. But, he's got that kind of pass first point guard mindset as well. He's really going to be a floor general. And I think he's kind of coming into his own really quickly here. So I think he's special. And when you look at that team, I mean, there's other guys that I would put on my all underrated NBA team from that team, like Brandon Clark. I would say Dylan Brooks from last year's all underrated NBA team. From, in my opinion, he's the captain of that team, Dylan Brooks. So just the toughness that they have. Valanciunas is so tough, and I think that with his size, he's going to help in the playoffs. Desmond Bane was a steal at number 30 this year. I think he can play right away. And then like the supporting cast of, Grayson Allen, Kyle Anderson, and DeAnthony Melton, they're not bad. I think they're all a year older and a year more ready to kind of solidify their roles and be really expert at their roles. And we haven't even talked about Jaren Jackson Jr. yet. So,
Injured.
Assuming right. So is he coming back this year? And if so, when? And I think that this is a team that's kind of up and coming and is going to surprise some people out of the West.
Okay. All right. So Dotson, I'm going to ignore that slander that Josh just threw out there. The Grizzlies, for them to do anything, they're going to have to at some point beat the Pelicans, which they lost to 3 times last year. Anyway, Dotson, tell me who surprising in the Western Conference and in the Eastern Conference, sir.
Yeah. No, without joking about the weather, Dotson over at Forbes Sports, I gotta tell you, I cover the Pelicans. They're gonna be in the playoff, Josh. They're gonna be there. They're gonna be in a play-in situation. That was my team, but I don't want to take them because I've been hard on the Pelicans for some things, especially with how they did Drew last summer. But for another team, I'll start in the East. Let me get away from the West, but I had to address that Pelican slander real quick. In the East, I think the Heat gonna fall off. I really think the Heat won't make the conference finals. It's not going to happen. Even if they trade for Harden, that's going to mess with their chemistry and take away their depth. I don't think Harden winds up in Miami, and I don't think Miami winds up in the conference finals again. I just don't. I'm real high on Washington. I'm one of the biggest Russell Westbrook fans you will ever find. I played poker with the man like 2 or 3 times. When we were up in Denver, it was great. Colorado has a law where you can only bet. Like, if you say all in, all you did was raise $100. They had $100 caps. Russell Westbrook played poker like he had a max contract, y'all. And he played every hand, and we loved it.
Wait, but he did have a max contract.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I didn't have a max contract. I had to fold 8-6 offsuit. He was over there raising. And I think he's going to do the same thing for the Wizards. He's going to raise their level of expectations up to playoffs. I mean, he's mad at Houston because Houston didn't have any structure. He wants people on time. I mean, you can, even at the poker table, you could tell Russell Westbrook will get aggravated with a dealer for fumbling a chip because it slowed down the action. He likes discipline, OCD discipline. And I'm like that. I love it. I absolutely love it. So for the East, that's where I'm at. I think Miami, they're going to fall off. Washington's going to be there. I hope to see Boston and Washington play a series. That's the series I'm rooting for. That's the one I want to see.
That was the funeral.
The
funeral series.
Yeah.
Wait, but you think the Celtics are kind of that team that could maybe slip and lose a series to this upstart Washington team so that you could get into the second round? Is that what you're thinking?
I would like to see them meet in the second round. That's the second round series. I'm already circling it right now. I really want to see those two teams play as they're constructed, 7-game series. I think that would be one of the most fun series in the league. I just love those rosters. That's just me. But I don't love the Golden State roster. I don't think that dynasty's done. If we're going to move to the West, the Golden State, Clay's hurt, Curry's 30-something, Draymond's Draymond. He's never going to be what he was. He's never going to be what he was a few years ago. Never again. And so that's where I'm at in the West. I don't think Golden State's going to be there. I'm not as high on Phoenix as most people. The last Ringer podcast, I mean, all they did was hype up the Suns. I don't think Chris Paul and Book's going to work out the way they think that. Chris Paul's the same way. He wants the ball. He's going to want to dictate things. The Suns aren't his team to dictate to. That's Book's team. That's Monty Williams leading those young guns. Chris Paul's there just to shepherd them along. And they're going to clash. They're not going to meet the expectations people put on them. And the Pelicans, again, they're going to be in the playoffs. So I'll end with that one.
Well, I definitely like the way you ended with, or definitely like who you ended with. Also, for all of our listeners here, we have a wonderful YouTube page as well. We definitely need you guys to subscribe to music, movies, and hoops at YouTube. We're slowly building. If you haven't followed us on Twitter as well, the followers are going up by the day. It's a lot of good content coming out daily. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe, follow, retweet, do everything you can as we continue to build this thing and take off. Speaking of taking off, with every surprising team, normally there is a breakout player of sorts. I want to know, Josh, who is your breakout player this year in the NBA? Who comes out of nowhere and takes the league by storm?
Wait, slow down, Chris. You're not just hosting, man. Who's your surprise team?
Hey,
My surprise team out of
you gotta.
Oh, okay. Shit. I mean,
you gotta step on the line here. You gotta.
Well,
East
all
and
right,
West,
so,
baby. East and West.
East and West. All right, let's see. The
And
Wizards.
like Dodson did, you could surprise people by saying like who's surprisingly bad, like the Golden State Warriors.
So the Wizards were fun. I like that you guys picked that. But I don't think I'm going to go there. I'm going to say the most surprising team is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers. I think that they have a chance to be the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. I really do.
Whoa!
I'm not a fan of what Doc Rivers is come postseason time. Just not a fan. But he always finds a way, 9 times out of 10, to have good regular season teams. Outside of that championship that he was able to and the second finals appearance with your Celtics, Josh, there's been a lot of letdowns. I don't know what they're gonna do postseason time, but I really think this team, is gonna make some noise this year, and they could possibly win the East. I think I love the fact that Sam Cassell is on that coaching staff because I love what he's going to do for Ben Simmons. I love the fact that Ben Simmons has been working with him. A lot is made about his jump shot, and I actually have something fun about his jump shot later on before the show ends. But, listen, if you just let the guy play basketball and we focus on what he can do, and he slowly starts to add these things, I think him and Sam spoke about his mid-range shot and his corner three, the things he's been working on. If those things happen, fine. If not, the guy's still probably going to average close to a triple-double every night. That's just he's that good, and he's on the right team for it. They went out and put space around these guys. Seth Curry and company. They went and outloaded Al Horford, who was a bad fit from the beginning on that roster. And I really like what they built. The relationship with Embiid and Simmons, it might be what it is, but that's for Doc Rivers to find a way to make work, and I think he will. I think both of those guys will come in ready to play, and they will make some noise. So that's my surprise in the East. And in the Western Conference, Lord.
Can we just say that it's kind of amazing that at like 30 years old, Seth Curry suddenly became this exciting asset? Out of nowhere. I'm excited too, but it's like they got Seth Curry. It's like, no, okay.
I mean, because that team needs shooting when they have those two guys. It's not that he's this spectacular addition, but for that team and what they need, he fits the bill. I mean, it's not that he's going to go out there and put up career highs, even though he could. But I understand what you're saying, Sasha. I mean, it's Seth Curry, right? My surprise in the Western Conference, I don't think the Portland Trail Blazers make the playoffs.
Whoa.
they weren't going to make the playoffs before the season ended. I want to say that before the season got suspended, the Trailblazers were going to miss the playoffs. Okay, that was going to happen.
Same thing.
And it didn't. Now, not to be fair, they were banged up, but a lot of teams were. I don't care. For whatever reason, they got into a rut, and it didn't matter. In past years when they were hurt, Dame and CJ always made it work. That's just, I mean, that's always how it was. But they got to a point defensively, they couldn't stop anybody, and no matter what type of performances those two put up, they couldn't beat teams consistently, and especially the good ones. I mean, the West only got tougher, which is ridiculous to say in all honesty, but it's the truth. And I think they're due to drop off. I don't think last year, even though they added Robert Covington, which was a good fit, fits the type of guy that they need. Melo's going to be off the bench. I understand. I mean, I think that they have some flexibility. They went and got Harry Giles, who I wanted the Pelicans to add. They went and got him for cheap, but something tells me that they are going to hit a snag. I think that they are still missing a third guy. I mean, and who knows? Maybe it's on the roster, by whether it be Simons or someone like that. But I think that they're missing a third guy, especially with some size that can take some pressure offensively consistently off of those two. And even though Melo's there, we're not talking about Melo from 5-10 years ago. And his game is it's still more of a throwback than it is fitting today's space and pace type of style. It's more of a ball stopping type of situation, which will fit their bench. So,
Chris, the Derek Jones, Robert Covington duo that they added, with length and defensive versatility, that those guys, you don't trust those guys. No. You don't trust Gary Trent Jr.
I don't trust.
That trio to me is like, okay, that's
deep.
something.
They're deep. They're deep. I'll give you that. I like Derek Jones Jr. I do like Robert Covington. I like these guys on paper. I do, but
right.
I look across the Western Conference, and I mean, to be honest, there are lots of teams on this list right now that I can look at that I like in regards to depth. I do, but I see the Trailblazers fall into these situations repeatedly where teams shut off Dame or they shut off CJ and they get in trouble. And I think eventually, and last year when they started to struggle, teams did that. They would shut off one person and they would allow the other person to get off, whoever it was. Tonight is going to be Dame. We're gonna trap him up, and if he's going to make 40-foot 3-pointers all game, let him do it. In the bubble, he made it work. But I don't know, man. I just have a feeling that they're going to drop off. And it's not like that. I'm not saying that they're going to be a bad team. You could miss the playoffs and be over 500 in the Western Conference. Something tells me that they're not going to make it. But I also have a bias when I say that because you guys know what team I love. So
I'm out here in Oregon, and the sense out here is that, like, with the additions that the Blazers have made for this season, that this season it's going to be different. And I kept telling everybody for years, but especially last year, they don't have a small forward. You got no small forward. And then all of a sudden, Gary Trent comes and surprises me a little bit. And now they add Derek Jones. I don't think Derek Jones is that great. And I think Covington is overrated. But on paper, it does look like this might be the year, at least to have hope.
But the year for what?
For hope. For legitimate
hope.
hope.
The year for a second-round exit.
Right. I mean, the year for another for Dame to go crazy in the first round and go home in the second round again?
Well, look, Dame has been in the MVP conversation. I think that he will be again this year. I think, he's a legitimate dude in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
And for him to take a leap up to Steph Curry levels, I'm going to say it, I don't think is out of the realm of possibility because he's that good.
Here's the thing. You know who's a really, really good NBA player? Jusuf Nurkic. He's a star. And I think with him really healthy, he's going to do big things for them. He's had like 5-by-5 games, guys.
He can play. I mean, he can play.
You believe in Zach Collins? Why do you believe in Zach Collins?
I also have right here, this is the last year that people are going to be scared of Steph and Clay, and it's also the last year that CJ and Dame play together. When Portland falls short this year, they're breaking it up.
I like that take, Dotson.
But Dame stays, right? CJ goes, Dame stays.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're not having a backcourt that short and continuing to mess up the West over and over and over and over and over again.
No.
It's just not going to work. They should have traded CJ McCollum the offseason before last when his value was the highest after he had that amazing playoff run and helped them almost damn near some nights by himself when Dame was struggling as they got into the Western Conference Finals. They should have traded CJ then, okay, and got bigger for Dame to work out. And I think things would have been a little bit easier for them. But their problem will always be when they run into big teams, and they're gonna run into them, they struggle. I mean, it's just how the NBA works.
This is easy to say, guys. Shooting guard is a shallow position in the NBA. Who are you trading and getting back value?
I mean, I think it's too late now. I mean,
who'd you say, Dotson?
I'll throw out Harden. He's the biggest guard. I mean, have you seen them pictures? He's a
Right. Not that Harden would want to go to Portland, or that Portland's even in the conversation and the rumors that we've been hearing about, right? But no, I agree that if you're going to trade CJ, I mean, why not look at that right now as the option? You know, Portland would be better for that. Would Houston rather have CJ McCollum than a Ben Simmons if you're getting the same number of draft picks? Who knows?
I like that, guys. I like that. So before I was thrown into the fire here, I appreciate that. Yeah, guys. I mean, who's breaking out this year? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go. I'm ready to go. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think Durant is going to have a breakout year, but I can't choose him as my breakout player because he's always been great.
Right.
There's some lesser known guys that I would want to say, but to me, I really feel like Ja Morant is the guy that's going to break out as the star. I think he's going to be an all-star this year. I think his team's going to make the playoffs this year. I think he's going to – I've been really thinking about, like, is it too early to say that this guy could be one of the greatest point guards of all time?
Oh, my God.
I really do see something in Ja that's like he has these hyper-athletic scorer-first instincts, but he also has that true point guard mentality. And I don't know if we've seen that before ever. So, like we've all seen the preseason and everybody's high on talent, Horton Tucker and Kobe White and those guys, right? I don't know if I'm going to say one of those guys, but if you're talking about lesser known guys like consolation prize runner up, I'm really high on three guys: PJ Tucker, DeAndre Hunter, and Rui Hachimura from your Wizards there, Dodson. I think those guys are going to be good. So maybe I said too many names. I should kick it right now.
I like now. I like that. I definitely like the Rui pick. Washington. Now that you guys are really selling me on Washington. I'm forgetting how talented this team is. They have a lot of players that I don't think people are really pegging on. And with Russ, they're gonna play hard under Scott Brooks as well. So you guys, you might be onto something there, Dotson.
Yeah, I'm betting the over for their win total. But looking at breakout players, how can you not say Zion? He didn't get to break out last season. He barely got to play. You got Zion. You got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, that crop, you're still going to see them breaking out. Ja. I mean, we're still excited about the last rookie class. This rookie class, you really got a couple players.
Yeah.
And then we really don't even care. We're still wanting to look at Ja. We're still wanting to look at Zion. I mean, look at how people are talking up Tyler Hero. I mean, Tyler Hero ain't the player people are saying he is now, but he can grow into that. Maybe the same way Ja can grow into point guard, greatest, whatever
God
thing you said. No.
Sasha.
So but you think that Zion is potentially one of the greatest at his position, right? I would assume.
No, I don't think ever.
I think when you're looking at generational talents, like when Shaq was put on the 50 greatest players team, people went up in arms. Like, how could you put this guy? He's a second-year guy. But like, this is a generational talent, and you got to have some balls to really call that out, like in year two.
I mean, I think so. I mean, listen, and we're gonna move to Sasha here so we can we can preserve some time. But I mean, when you're as efficient as physically imposing, as athletic in shape now, and I mean, just has, especially offensively, the motor that Zion has. And now he's making his free throws. They'll probably be anywhere between 70 to 80%. I mean, look, it could be as close to Shaq dominance as we've seen, because we have not seen someone like that athletically, but we haven't seen anyone with that level of strength to where even if you know what's coming, you really can't do shit about it. And most guys may not want to do anything about it. I was on a podcast earlier, and I was talking to my man Louis Prejean, who does radio in Louisiana, and there's a play in the preseason game against the Miami Heat, and I tweeted about it. Zion has the ball on the left elbow, and he starts off with two guys looking at him. By the time he gets to the hoop, all five guys are looking at him, and they're all by him. They're all in the vicinity. Two guys step up, the other are looking around, and he still makes the layup. Like, nobody else in the game, maybe not even LeBron at this age, can do that. So not only do you have a situation where he's efficient, but I just think when you're talking about how strong and how, that overall size burst, it's too much. Nobody wants to stand in front of that for a full game. And if you do, it's only going to open up opportunities for others. But that's my take. Sasha, who's your breakout player?
Yeah, I like Hachimura. That was a great call, Josh. I also think Thomas Bryant is going to have a big season. I like their rookie Denny. This has suddenly become a Wizards pod. We have no Wizards people. But yeah.
They have a fun team.
They do. Yeah. They do.
Wow.
But guys, I got a guy I'm really excited about that no one's mentioned. I'm happy about that. My guy this season is Christian Wood. Big believer. So
You're excited about Christian Wood?
Let me throw some of my numbers at you.
Pelican.
In the last 14 games of the season, he averaged 22, 10, a block, and a steal with 40% shooting from three.
Yeah.
He played one game this preseason and dropped 27 and 10. Also, this is my deepest stat. This is my second level stat for you. I found that last year he averaged 7 more points a game against the Western Conference than the Eastern Conference.
Wow.
Traded to the Western Conference.
Oh, you dug deep.
prepping for the pod, Chris. So what I think makes Christian Wood really exciting is I think the Rockets are going to trade James Harden. And if they have this star center who's 26 years old and has a bright future, this rebuild could happen super quickly. If you can get a young upstart guard, you suddenly have your kind of JJJ Ja of the Rockets. So I think his growth and how far he can go is really going to set up the scene for what the Rockets could be in the future. I'm very excited about it.
Okay, and you know what? Listen, you guys have named. I did a fantasy basketball draft yesterday, and I've heard names that were all over that damn list of breakout players. Christian Wood. Who else have I heard that was on that damn list? Let me see.
Colin Sexton.
Come on now. Sexton was on it. Colin Sexton was on it.
I said he was on the list. I didn't say I would pick him to have that season. That's all I'm saying.
No, he was definitely on there. There was Thomas Bryant was another one. As I hear these names, I'm like, damn, I missed them all on my fantasy team. But I missed them all.
Chris, can I weigh in on the Christian Wood thing?
Absolutely. Yes, you can.
So I coached against Christian Wood in college. I've been waiting for a breakout for him since 2012. Okay,
this is the first-hand shit right here.
Yeah, so sitting across the bench from this guy, he's been a all talent and never been able to put it together guy his entire career, right? And I saw he was shooting threes in college, and it was like, what are you doing? Like, why? Back then, it was like, why are you shooting these threes? But it just seemed like he didn't really know how to play his position. And I think that he's lucked out in how the game has evolved in the last 6 years or 8 years. And now all of a sudden, like someone with his size, length, athleticism, and skill, switchability, now like that's the prototypical 5-man, right? So everything is pointed in the right direction for him, but it's the kind of thing when you're on a bad team, which I think the Houston Rockets are going to become when they trade Harden and when they have John Wall trying to lead the pack here. I just think that, he's going to put up good stats on a bad team,
Empty
but still
numbers.
not necessarily be like a great player. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's funny that no one could have really saw this coming. But I just think about what could have been for New Orleans and Milwaukee. Imagining, Christian Wood and, or this version of Christian Wood playing minutes next to Giannis, or, things working out differently with the Pelicans and him being next to Zion. I mean, there are so many things that could have happened if either one of those organizations could have would have saw things differently and would have decided to keep that young man, because he does fit where the league is currently and where it's heading. Like you said, I don't know what he's going to be starting out, depending on, on a good team, and as Houston maybe transitions to being bad, like you said, Josh. But I mean, I do at least like that, he bet on himself in a few situations, and, he ended up getting paid, and hopefully, it works out for him. Okay, so what we are going to do here, we can transition into some playoff talk here, and then we'll do a quick rapid fire for time purposes, and then maybe I guess from there we'll kind of wrap things up. But so give me the playoff series you would most likely want to see.
Oh, I'll put that one out there
with
already.
everything that we know, huh?
I say I put that one out there already with Washington and Boston.
Well, okay,
I want to see that.
Right. Dotson. Okay.
I want to see New Orleans versus the Lakers. I gotta have that. I want to see New Orleans versus Milwaukee, but that means we have to be in the finals.
Right. Hey man, shoot for the stars, bro. Aim for the moon.
Got to.
Sasha, man, give me a playoff series that, from with everything that we know now, that you would be most likely or most excited to see.
Yeah, I'm going to go from the present to the potential distant future. I think this is the first game of the NBA season tomorrow. I might be, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I would love to see the Brooklyn Nets in the finals against the Golden State Warriors.
That would be drama.
Yeah, it was Steph's team. KD came. It kind of became KD's team. He won 2 finals MVPs, deservingly so. It was always a little hard to tell who was the best player on that team. I think we all like KD because of the two-way potential and the height. But Steph is Steph, and he's amazing. And I'd love to see them battle and try and show us who is the ultimate player between those two. We've already seen Kyrie and Steph in the finals together. It was electric. I would love more. So I think that if Kevin Durant could win a finals against his old team, who knows if this has happened? It probably will have to happen next year. But if it could happen, I think he could shrug off that reputation as being an add-on player and actually earn that respect as a real championship, and it would change his legacy.
Okay, I definitely like that. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch tomorrow, and if we could see it later on in the season, it would definitely be good. I'd love to be in Golden State or Brooklyn come summertime. But Josh,
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, I need you to become a believer, so I'm going with the Denver Nuggets Utah Jazz series.
Oh my God!
I thought that was the best series in the playoffs last year, and I think you need another round of that to really understand. But in the East, I kind of like where Sasha went. I'm going with 2 on this answer. I'm going with the 1-8 seed in the East that I predict is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks against the Atlanta Hawks, just because I like the storyline of Bogdan Bogdanovic going to the Hawks after the whole debacle with what happened with Milwaukee, and then maybe the Hawks beating Milwaukee yet again, underperforming Milwaukee team with a great regular season, and then a shitty playoffs, and Giannis, after signing the Supermax, being as loyal and as good of a dude as he is, that just having to say, well, you win some, you lose some, when everybody else around is kind of watching this team looking like this. I don't know if this is a good situation. First they chose Bledsoe over Brogdon. Now they try to get Bogdanović, and he ends up beating them in the playoffs. And Giannis is happy as a clam, and so I think we're okay for now. But how long can this last?
Take that one step further.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to see, not to make this Washington Wizards podcast again, if Harden gets traded to the East, wouldn't you want to see Harden's new team play Westbrook? Because you know Russ is coming for blood if he gets to play Harden in the playoffs.
That's what I was heading. Especially if it's Brooklyn. I wanted to see Washington. I would want to see Washington, Brooklyn with or without James Harden. But if you could imagine if things don't start the way that they should for Brooklyn, they just go all out and go get James. I mean, a Nets Wizards series would be off the wall entertaining, man.
I'm sorry, guys. I know this is the music, movies, and hoops podcast, so I'm going to reference a movie title. What Russell Westbrook on that Washington Wizards team is old and in the way. Look that movie up. Old and in the way. I don't know if you watched the playoffs last season with Dame, but Westbrook, injured or not, COVID or not, he looked like a shell of his former self in the playoffs. And that maybe, am I thinking 2 years ago with the bye-bye shot from Lillard? I mean, I just think at that point, that was like the end. That was the beginning of the end for Westbrook, and he's now in the twilight years, as we like to call it, old and in the way.
Okay, so wait, so I like where Josh is going with that. I mean, does anybody else have a song, an album or a movie title that best describes the team? For me, it would be Houston, and it would be Nothing Was the Same. That would be mine. Dotson.
Man, I'm trying to think on it. I don't know why I want to go Maisie Star, like Fade Into You. It's just like sad but happy, and I'm thinking of Houston for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, it's like I got that mood. I'm big on Maisie Star. Most people don't jive with it, but I love that one song, and that's the first thing I thought of when you said it. It's like he kind of fallen into Houston, but he's also fallen out of Houston, and that song has a dynamic where it could go both ways. He could go both ways. He's straddling the fence. He says he's going to play, but he also says he wants to be traded.
I feel that, man. That's definitely a good one. Sasha, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm going with one of my favorite movies of the last decade, Arrival, and I am giving that title to the team, the Brooklyn Nets.
Hey.
This is their time.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see. I like that. See, Josh, you perfectly found a way to bring things together better than I would have, because that was not.
Can I cap it off for you, Chris? Let me cap it off for you, because I know we can cuss on this podcast, and on my other podcast we can't swear.
Okay.
The Los Angeles Lakers, there was a song that went, "Move, bitch, get out the way, get out the way." The Lakers are going to repeat. As a Celtics fan, I hate to say it, but it's going to happen. Everyone's got to get out the way.
Unfortunately, I wish I could say anything to get in front of what you're saying, but I would have to move out of the way as well. Okay.
I feel I'm missing a Doctor Strangelove reference in here somewhere.
No doubt.
I don't know if that's your movies. That's like one of my favorite movies, but that's for me. That's the full season. It's gonna be strange, but we're gonna love it.
I like that. All right, let's do a quick rapid fire here, guys, and let's wrap it up, man. So, all right, if for the season, would you rather be going into the season? Would you rather be Ben Simmons' jump shot or Houston Rockets teammates? No, or James Harden's teammates. I'm sorry. Which one would you rather be?
I'm gonna go. I'd rather be Harden's teammate. I mean, on both ends, because if you're in Houston, you know you're gonna get rid of that problem eventually. Simmons is gonna have to deal with a problem of a broken jumper his whole life, kind of like Lonzo's free throws. So I'm gonna go with teammate. If he gets traded, if he gets traded, that you on a finals team. So yeah, either you're getting rid of a problem or you're going to the finals, baby.
Okay, Josh.
Yeah, Houston's not going to the finals, even with James Harden. I'd rather be Ben Simmons' jump shot. I actually think that's more fixable than the Houston Rockets team now. As it stands right now, that shows you how low I am on the Houston Rockets. I think that Ben Simmons can develop a mid-range shot, and I think that that's really all he needs to develop. I don't think he needs a three, but as long as he can get to that free throw line and rise up over everybody and hit a whether it's a left-handed jump shot or a right-handed jump shot. I'll let you choose, Ben. But I think that's all he needs, and I would say the same for Giannis and his jumper too. Just get that mid-range down, and that's like that Kawhi shot that's unguardable in the playoffs. That's what those two guys need, and I think that Ben Simmons can develop that.
Sasha?
I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets teammates. My thinking is even if things go badly on the court, off the court, you can link up with two old friends, two reunited teammates, John Wall and Boogie Cousins, and go out H-Town and turn up and have some fun with those guys. So that's what I'm thinking. Those guys look like a lot of fun.
Okay. The Knicks and Cavaliers have a game, and your life is on the line. Who are you picking?
Cavs.
Dotson?
I'll probably kill myself before the first commercial.
Taking the gun to the head.
Sasha?
I'll throw out a quick name. A guy I'm really high on is Obi Toppin. I didn't know who he was when Josh and I did the live draft, but I've since learned I'm a big believer in him. So I'm excited for the Knicks, and I think he could drop 20 and pull that game out.
Sasha, did I tell you to be high on him?
Yes.
Because I think I've switched. I think I'm now low on him. I think that the storyline is now set with this new regime in New York, and they picked a New York guy in Obi Toppin, and all the resemblances of Amari Stoudemire with the shoulders, inside game. Yet he can shoot the three. I just think it's a little too tantalizing, and I don't see him defending at the level. I just don't see Mitchell Robinson really. Like, the whole thing is still just a cluster. And I just think that actually the Knicks, even though they're still getting players that should improve their team, they're going to continue to be a disappointment. And the longer we go into this new regime where we should have different expectations and we get the same result, it's just going to be like twice as devastating for New York Knicks fans. And if gun to my head, I'm taking the Cavs over them.
Okay.
The Cavs have a resurgent player this year. I'm blanking on the name of the rookie they got, but
okay.
Okoro plays with a motor and energy that looks really contagious. I feel like that's maybe one thing you can take from preseason games is like when the bench is hooting and hollering and getting excited about like energy plays and effort plays. That's the kind of thing that can be contagious and possibly a culture changer for the Cavs. So there's some hope for the Cavs that I feel like is realistic, and for the Knicks, it seems like a tease.
Okay, I have one more for you guys, and we'll pretty much be out of here. I believe that the Indiana Pacers are the most boring team in the NBA. I just do. I don't want to watch the Indiana Pacers play basketball. And they have fun. They have a few fun guys, but I just don't want to watch them play. I can't tell you why. They're just so boring to me. Very quickly, who would be you guys' most boring team in basketball?
The Pacers of the West.
Chris. How did you not pick Detroit?
How did I not pick Detroit? Because I mean, even with 7 knee braces, I still like to watch Blake Griffin play basketball, and I like Killian Hayes.
And Denver's old backcourt reserves bench. I mean, they spent $80 million on the bench.
But you know what? But there are things that I can watch. Like, listen, I still hope good things for Jahlil Okafor. So I could watch that game and say, let's see him not play defense and score 6 straight. Let's see how this goes. I could watch Detroit if they're kind of healthy and be okay with it. I don't want to watch the Pacers play basketball. And the Knicks would be a pick, but if they're terrible, I kind of enjoy that. I kind of enjoy it. Josh, who's the most boring team in basketball?
The Minnesota Timberwolves.
That was mine.
That's good.
I'm sorry, Sasha. You could piggyback onto me, but just the things that they're doing there, I can't watch D'Angelo Russell. I don't like. Maybe I shouldn't even say this, but I don't like.
He got the shit in his veins, bro. You don't.
I like the ice and the veins thing. I just don't like how you're like pulling the headband over the hair, like you're dropping the hair down over the ears. Like, are you trying to create a hoodie while you play to give yourself your ears some warmth or something? I just don't get what's going on. And I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, I love that he can shoot the three, but they're boring. Jarrett Culver was a terrible pick. I don't like the first pick this year, Anthony Edwards. I just think he's an Andrew Wiggins clone. I didn't like Wiggins then. Like I just don't like what's going on there.
So
And
Cat is out of there.
yeah. Sasha, you got more to add on the Timberwolves?
No, I think they're kind of the Pacers of the West.
Oh, no, fair enough. Dotson, did you just trash me, or did you kind of say who you wanted by saying the Pistons?
Yeah, I'm not big on the Pistons. I can watch the Pacers. I can watch Miles Turner not live up to expectations. I can watch that team do a few things the same way you can watch. I mean, I'll watch them the same way you can watch Detroit. So we kind of flip that.
Okay. No, fair enough. That makes sense. All right, guys. Well, I guess there's only one way to end this here. Finals predictions. You guys don't have to if you want to say who wins. I mean, Josh already told us who wins, but who meets them there, Josh?
I'm gonna say the Nets.
Wow,
that has to hurt.
I hate it, dude. I hate it
so bad.
I'm a Kyrie hater.
Oh, that hurts.
But I really think that if they keep the team the way it is now, I mean, I can see this team imploding in so many different ways, from just Kyrie mouthing off too much to DeAndre Jordan, and Jared Allen not getting along, and when everybody knows Allen should be playing the majority of the minutes at the center position, but they just have so much depth. They're really staggeringly good. I feel like on paper they're the Warriors of the East this year. I mean, I'm looking at the standings. I'm just looking down. I'm like, I don't see the Bucks making it all the way. I don't see Toronto, even though Toronto always surprises us with their scrappiness. I agree the Heat were a little bit of a fluke last year. Yeah, I'm biased because the Celtics lost to them. And then Philly, there's just too much maybe next year for Philly once they really solidify things.
Mm-hmm.
But so, like, who does that leave? It's like, well, the best team of the bunch on paper, the Nets.
Okay. Dotson?
Yeah, I mean, if everybody stays healthy, we're probably looking at Milwaukee or the Nets versus the Lakers. But I don't think that's going to happen. You heard it here first. The Dallas Mavs are going to the finals, and they'll play Milwaukee.
Wow. Off the top rope. I don't even know how to Sasha? Wow.
I'm not a believer in the Clippers. Here, I'll give you a reason so you can think on it. I'll give you a reason. I'm not a big believer in the Clippers. I think they're going to fall off. Both of their stars have had injury problems or load management. Paul George and Kawhi both had that. LeBron is going. Father Time's going to win eventually. It's always happened. Nobody
not
beats
this
Father
year.
Time.
No, actually, LeBron has defied Father Time. He's done it.
But let one thing happen to that roster. I mean, if you get Mavs versus Lakers in the conference finals and the Lakers are missing a bullet and the Mavs still have Luka and KP going, come on. You heard it here first. The Mavs going.
Dotson, we got a bet going, all right?
That's interesting.
How many games is Porzingis going to play this year? We got 72 games in the regular season. You think he's playing all of them?
Over under, I'd put it at 55 and bet the over.
And with 55 games of Porzingis, they're going to go all the way to the finals.
No, he'll be healthy and rested for the playoffs. I'm saying regular season, he's going to get 55. They're going to slip in like 3 or 4 seed, and they're going to have an upset. They're going to the finals.
I like it. Okay.
I've talked myself into it at this point. I've talked myself into it. KP and Luka together, it's happening.
And the MVP award goes to?
Oh, it's without a doubt.
Luka.
Without a doubt. Sasha, what about you, man? Who's meeting the Lakers in the finals?
Yeah, I think we should take a second on the Lakers. They deserve a minute of our time. We haven't really talked about them. I saw this really great clip on YouTube of them in a preseason game against the Suns when they had their starters out and playing defense. They were on a string, guys. These guys are locked in. Frank Vogel's a great defensive coach. They now have a year in his system. There's a lot of trust. I think KCP's really bought in on the defensive end. He was moving around. Bron's playing defense. I think Marc Gasol's a great communicator and still can be kind of a floor general on the defensive end of the court. I'm really excited about them, and they just got better. I want to start Dennis Schroeder. Kuzma just signed an extension. I believe in him. I'm a big Alex Caruso guy. I think a lot of these guys are going to play better this year. I think the gap between them and everyone else is large, and it's pretty wild. So cheers to them. If LeBron wins his 5th ring, it's going to be, the conversation is going to get very interesting. And then the other side of the aisle, I'm going to go, it sounds like a homer pick. I'm also from Massachusetts, but I don't even think it is. I'm going to say the Celtics are going to be in the finals. It feels so weird. We've underachieved the last few years. We've had all this talent. I still can't believe when we had Kyrie and Hayward and Horford, we didn't go further. This year, everyone thinks we're going to take a step back. You know who's going to take a step forward? Jason Tatum. And I just think if KD pulls an ankle, if Drew disappoints in Milwaukee, the Heat take a step back. A lot of these teams have some question marks, and I think we do know a lot about the Boston Celtics. They're maybe the most comfortable. They're the most comfortable with who they are. I don't know how they're going to score, but I think they're going to defend like hell, and I think they're going to win 85-90 all the way to the finals.
I am actually with you, Sasha. I think it will be a Lakers Celtics.
Oh,
I do.
You got Connor.
I do. I think it's Tatum's year, man. He's in my mind, he's a dark horse MVP candidate. Listen, if the 76ers weren't the 76ers, because I do think that they have a shot at winning the East, I'd pick them. But the Celtics have been together long enough. They have guys on their team that just continue to get better. Jaylen Brown had a great year last year. He's only gonna continue to get better. When you're talking combination of shooting guard, small forward, it doesn't get better than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. It's perfect. Both guys can defend. Both guys can score for you. I don't know. Kemba Walker, I worry about. I love Marcus Smart with a passion. Like that is if I'm building a team, he's on it. I wish that once again Danny Ainge would have used some of those chips he had to go and trade for someone that mattered. He didn't really do it for my liking. I would have liked him to have someone maybe like a Miles Turner at the 5 spot, but once again, man, they're gonna be a deep team, and I really think this is the year that Tatum puts it together, and Jaylen Brown's gonna be right there with him, and that'll be a really good matchup for the Lakers. One in which, I picked the Lakers to win, but I think the Celtics would give them quite the headache.
So would you trade Jaylen Brown for James Harden right now if you're the Celtics?
Hell no. Okay. Hell no.
And you guys both think that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to have the playmaking ability to get other guys involved this year that's going to take them over the hump?
Jason, yes. Jaylen, no.
Tatum, yeah, and I'm with Sasha. Tatum surprised me in the playoffs, man. He really took a step forward in my eyes as a passer. He had multiple games where he had 6, 7, 8, 9 assists. And the reason I know that is because I was betting on it quite often on FanDuel. But he had a lot of games in that bubble where he was really finding guys and making plays for others. And I think he realized that that's important. He was filling up the box score. I think things like that will translate because for some guys, man, passing, assisting, it's just a mindset. At some point, him finding that balance, I think is going to be great for them. Jaylen Brown's three-pointer looked good, and that's a guy that I look into that I really believe puts in the work. I don't know, man. Milwaukee, I bought into Milwaukee last year. I'm just not ready to do it this year again.
We all got a little scarred.
Yeah.
They got to prove it now. They got to prove it.
Yeah. There's no reason they shouldn't be in the finals, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, they always underachieve. So it's interesting that this year they've completely retooled their supporting cast. They got rid of certain guys and they brought in, Torrey Craig, for some toughness next to Giannis. They brought in Bobby Portis, who's going to bring the same thing. Bryn Forbes, who's going to, bring some shooting. Even DJ Augustine, I feel like, is going to get some minutes on that team. And it's just interesting how they they took Middleton and Brook Lopez and Giannis, and they said, all right, pretty much everybody else is going to be new, besides DiVincenzo and Connaughton. But
those names don't excite me, Josh. They do not excite
me. They don't? See, I'm a big fan of Bryn Forbes. I feel like any guy you get from the Spurs who has a good shooting percentage and playoff experience is going to add something to your team when your team has consistently lost in the playoffs.
Tell Gary Neal, where did Gary Neal go when he left?
Exactly.
Did he go to Charlotte and do nothing?
Yeah, maybe.
Blame that on Charlotte.
Gary Neal doesn't want to hear that shit, Josh.
On Charlotte.
Hey, I need to ask you Pelicans guys. The fact that Lonzo Ball did not get the rookie extension this year, what does that mean? Does that mean that they're kind of soured on him a little bit?
No, I don't. I'm gonna let Dotson take a majority of this, but to me, it's just saying that just like with Brandon Ingram last year, prove it, man. Prove what you're worth. He had a bad start to last year. Then the middle of the year, he got rapid hot, and then the season ended, the bubble started, and he was bad again. Well, let's see you put together a full season. Let's see you be healthy. And then we determine exactly how much you're paid. At this point, you're letting the market determine it. But,
right.
And more than likely, Lonzo's camp, especially being with, who's he with, Clutch or Rock Nation? Dotson?
He's with Clutch. He's
okay. Especially with Clutch.
Like 3 times in the last 3 months.
Yeah, they're going to get him paid. Yeah, they're going to look to be getting him paid, and he's going to look to get paid. And someone's going to want to. Knicks, I know you're out there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Dotson, you can kind of take it from there.
All right. Well, maybe this might be breaking it, but they never really had that many conversations. Lonzo wants the max contract. He's already said that.
Oh my
Look at
God.
Griffin and his background. That's coming from Lonzo. Here, the same person that told me that gave me the Brandon Ingram $157 million number off 2 weeks before Woj printed it. Coming from the same person.
Those are different players.
They're different players, but it's all the same sources that are telling me Lonzo didn't really even have a talk with the team because he just wanted the max or nothing. He'd rather bet on himself than talk with the team.
I believe your sources, man. I think you've shown your credibility. I don't think that Lonzo deserves that.
Dotson, you think Lonzo deserves the max? Is he going to get the max from anybody?
No.
From nobody, right?
He might get the max from New York.
You think so?
New York or something, maybe.
You think so?
It's New York. They always mess it up. It's New York. The Knicks will Knicks.
And Daryl Griffin is smart enough to know, okay, let's see what happens.
Yep.
But that's what's going on.
But look at his past. He is notorious for letting players get to restricted free agency or waiting it out. Even in Cleveland, even in New Orleans, he was going to do this with Ingram. Josh wants 15 to 18. I've heard that from his people.
Yeah, okay.
The New Orleans Pelicans never come with more than 13 and a half.
Yeah.
So that they never met in the middle. That's just how it's going to happen. The same way Lonzo never even come to him. The Pelicans didn't come to him because there was no middle. It was max or nothing.
Okay, so this is really interesting to me because the Pelicans, they've firmly decided they're going in a different direction from like, we're going to do this combo thing with Favors and Drew Holiday and JJ Redick where we got the vets playing. The young guys will come up slowly. Boom. This offseason, all of a sudden they're saying, okay, we're going with the youth movement. Zion's going to lead this team to the playoffs and the promised land and all that. If they lose Drew Holiday in the offseason this past summer, and then all of a sudden next season they lose Lonzo Ball because the Knicks give them the max or something crazy like that. Now what? Who's playing the one?
Eric Bledsoe.
Kyra Lewis Jr., Nikhil, Bledsoe, Zion and Ingram are going to be holding the ball a lot more. I mean, I wrote about it over at Forbes. Griffin's come out and said he's going to do it. They've done it during the preseason. Stan Van Gundy's come out and said they're going to find ways to put the ball in their hands. Why would you want the ball in Lonzo's hands if you have Zion and Ingram? The first preseason game, Lonzo had like 10 more shots than anybody else on the roster. If the Pelicans have Lonzo Ball as the leading field goal attempt person, it's a bad day. It's a bad day. So we don't want Lonzo. The Pelicans don't need Lonzo to be that point guard that runs the offense.
You mean a John Morant, the greatest of all time?
Yeah, that's just
go.
Lonzo's nowhere near Ja, so he shouldn't get Ja money.
Right.
I feel that. Well, Well, guys, I think this podcast was money. You know, this show.
Okay.
I think we did a great time or a great job. I had a great time with you guys. So we'll pretty much wrap up from here. But I'll go around here, Josh. Tell people where to find you at, and if you're working on anything upcoming here.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Coach Montenko, Motenko. I'm on the Celtics Pride podcast on the Celtics Blog Podcast Network. Rep in Boston, and musicmoviesandhoops.com.
Dotson, where can they find you at, man? What you got up next?
Man, I'm working on a few things. Jackson Hayes, bunch of Pelican stuff you can find over at Forbes.com/Chris Dodson. But I got something for y'all that I didn't tell anybody till this one. I just did something with Kickstradamus a couple nights ago. Y'all follow me over on Twitter, doing it Dodson. Dodson Unfiltered on Instagram. I got some Zion PSA rated 10 cards, Drew Brees, Brandon Ingram's. Kickstradamus sent it all to him. I sent him some money, and we did it through in a way that brings donations to the Carly McCord Scholarship Foundation. I don't know if you ever talked with Carly. I talked with Carly, but my brother and his wife, they're real close friends with her. She passed away in a plane crash. And it really it touched me. It's something I've been trying to do for the last year. And Kickstradamus hooked it up. So we're going to try and run an auction, raise some money for the scholarship fund. Y'all follow me. Check out Music, Movies, and Hoops because I'm going to be releasing more information just right here for y'all. But that's that.
Man, that's pretty awesome. And it's for a great cause. And I'm glad, we were able to hear about it first, man. So you saved it for the right purpose. Sasha, where can the people find you at? And what's up next, busy man?
I'm just repping MMH right now on Twitter, Music, Movies, Hoop. Check us out on YouTube. We got tons of content, drop new videos every Monday. Excited to have you guys all part of it. We're going to have new people in the new year. I think 2021 we're going to pop off.
Well, I mean, you heard it from the man. My name is Chris Connor. You guys can find me on Twitter at Impatient Bull. Pretty much anything that I write, if it's not on the bird rights with our platform there at SB Nation, it will be here on MMH. But I look forward to doing more things like this and talking as much shit as I can on my downtime. So that is pretty much it. We had a blast, and we hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to all of you guys soon. Signing out.